A lot of people lost a lot back in 2008 when we had the Great Recession in real estate and in the stock market. And one of the things I see a lot of panelists and financial advisors talking about is the trends that we're seeing not only are continue to be the same as they were in 2008 when we had this crash, but it's a little worse.
Welcome to the Average Joe Finances Podcast. Are you trying to get out of debt, invest, or just not sure where to start? Then this is the place for you. We discuss different ways to get out of the rat race and build your wealth. Join us on this wild ride to financial freedom.
Any views or opinions expressed on Average Joe Finances by myself or our guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of our employers. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be relied upon for real estate or investment decisions. We are simply sharing our experiences and lessons learned with our listeners. Thank you. Hey everyone, this is Mike Cav, host of the Average Joe Finances Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy today's episode. Hey everyone, how you doing? Today I had a really good interview with someone, and I plan to release that episode next week. But one of the things that we talked about afterwards really jarred my memory on something about what's currently going on right now with this pandemic and what this new normal looks like. One of the things that we discussed is, folks moving out of big cities now and moving into the suburbs because they're finding that they don't need to be in the office every day. They're in about once a week, teleworking most other days. You're seeing big companies now. Look at Google. They're saying that their employees are going to work from home until next year, 2021. When we see these kinds of things happening, it's totally shifting our mindset on what normal looks like. This pandemic, while it's deadly, and I get it, it's a really bad disease and people are dying. But the other part of it is this economic and social impact that it's having on us worldwide, not just here in the United States. So I wrote this article back in May. It was called The Big City Escape and the New Normal. And what I was talking about in this article was it had to do with what the Redfin CEO Glenn Kelman was putting out during an earnings call. He was talking about how, actually one of the quotes, I'll give you a quote that he said, more people will leave San Francisco, New York, and even Seattle for some nearby towns. So we're seeing this decline in people living in these big cities, in these expensive areas. As a matter of fact, with the person I spoke with today, we had a conversation afterwards, kind of offline. And she was telling me that she has a friend in Manhattan who's a realtor. And, she went from, their firm went from, 100 listings selling in 1 month down to 25. That's the kind of drops that they're seeing right now. That's a 75% drop. That is crazy. So when you're looking at things like that, it makes you wonder, well, where are these folks going if they're not buying close to where they work at in the city? And, they're out there looking in the suburbs. And now, mind you, the folks that are out there in Manhattan that are moving out to other areas like Long Island's not cheap, I could tell you that. But they're living in other areas too, up in New Jersey, and they're commuting to the city maybe once a week, if that, because most of their jobs now, they're able to telework. So what does this mean? What will this new normal be? We're seeing more and more real estate agents now setting up virtual showings and selling homes with minimal person-to-person contact. According to Kelman, he was saying that homes are selling in some areas and the real estate market is still doing quite well. But more businesses are allowing teleworking. You're seeing these major cities start to see these bigger drops in real estate sales. So is this something that will help revive the suburbs as we experience this quote unquote big city escape? Not sure. Not really sure what it's going to do for the suburbs right now, but one of the things that I do see happening is, these folks are going to be teleworking. It makes you wonder, how long will something like this go on for? You see companies like Google that are now having having their employees telework until 2021. That's crazy. Other big companies are doing it too. A lot of folks are teleworking and they're doing stuff from home. Even in the military, in my current job, we have meetings where a lot of our folks, especially our civilian employees, telework in, and it's amazing the technology that we have to do these kinds of things. It's really great, but at the same time, everything's changing, And when you are face to face in person and you are talking with other individuals, you got to wear a mask, and we have these crazy rules. You can't, if you're in the same room with someone, you can't be in that room for more than 10 minutes at a time. If you can't maintain 6 feet, you have to have the mask on. And I get it. We need to be safe, and everyone needs to, protect each other by wearing those masks. Because the mask isn't, to protect you from getting it. It's to protect others in case you have it and you're spreading this virus. So it's just some stuff to think about, just thoughts that are on my mind. Keeping this podcast a little short today, as this, this conversation that I had earlier really jogged my memory and made me think about that this is still happening. I wrote this article back in May, and we're seeing more and more companies now just jump ship and go to teleworking. And it's really devastating small businesses. So for those of you out there that have a small business that's been affected by this, I'm curious, what are you doing to take care of yourselves and your family? Because I know that those SBA loans only went so far, and they only gave so much. It was, a lot of bigger businesses and big corporations really got a lot of that money, not the small businesses. One of the things that I was talking about in the conversation I had today with my interview was side hustles, and how this one individual turned that side hustle into their full-time job. And it's a really good episode. I think you guys are really going to like it. Next week, and I'll give you the teaser here. I interviewed Christine Tay. She's a financial coach. It was really cool. She talked about how she took her side hustle and turned it into her full-time job. I'm really excited about that episode. But for now, you're just listening to me. But it made me wonder, taking these side hustles, turning them into getting more cash flow in your life. So what are you doing? And this is a question I'm asking the listeners. What are you doing now to ensure that you're going to be able to continue making money during this pandemic? And we just saw this 32% drop in the economy. Those numbers came out the other day, really, really bad. And it makes you wonder, where are we right now as a nation? Where are we right now financially? With that drop, are we going to see this huge correction in the real estate market and in the stock market? It's very possible that it's coming. A lot of panelists and stuff. If you watch CNBC, I'm not sure if any of you do, but I do. I like to see what's going on in the market and just see what's going on with real estate and just the numbers when these earnings calls come out, to see how these companies are doing. Because if you think it doesn't affect the economy, it does. And if you think that the economy getting slammed doesn't affect you, well, it does. So it's important to know what's going on out there. And with this 32% drop, I mean, when you look at the market and you see everything just scaling up and up and up and everything's just going great, and then all of a sudden, not only do we get to zero, but we dip down below that, it's pretty devastating. A lot of people lost a lot back in 2008 when we had the Great Recession, in real estate and in the stock market. And one of the things I see a lot of panelists and financial advisors talking about is the trends that we're seeing not only continue to be the same as they were in 2008 when we had this crash, but it's a little worse. And it makes me wonder because, real estate dropped back then in some areas 40 to 60%. And that's pretty concerning for a guy that, like me, who's buying rental properties and, Right now I'm trying to take equity out of one of my properties to go buy another property. And what concerns me is if I take this equity out and then the market drops, what's that going to do to me? But at the same time, I'm not too concerned about that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm playing the long game when it comes to this. If I take this equity out of this property and then it drops in price, I'm not too worried about it because it will come back. Everything bounces back. It took a couple years, but that's fine. If my property is still renting and making a monthly passive income for me, then I'm good. That's what I'm concerned with. The value will come back. This could also be the opportunity when these housing prices drop to get a couple good deals. So how you look at this future of whatever it can be, whether it's pretty grim or not, the things you need to take into consideration is, do you have a plan? And if you do, what is that plan? Really think about it. Really think about, different exit strategies for the different things you're invested in. And if you don't have a plan, why not? Now's the time to definitely start working on it. For those of you that lost your jobs and you're collecting unemployment, what have you been doing during this time frame to try to pick up a new skill? With the way things are going, we might still have more time that we're stuck in isolation, stuck at home. If you're still working, you're teleworking. If you're out of work and collecting unemployment or getting other benefits to help keep you afloat, what are you doing to better yourself? There's so many courses out there you can take online. Some of them cost some money. Some of them are free. Do some research. You might learn that there's a side hustle you can start and actually start making a little more cash to take care of yourself and your family. There's so many different options out there. You can open a drop shipping store with Shopify. You really got to commit the time to that. So if you're stuck at home, you can commit the time. You can, look at doing a print on demand service. If you're making t-shirts or other products, there's ways that you can do it where you're not actually shipping the items yourself. Fulfillment by Amazon, where you're buying products and shipping them out through Amazon. You send it all to the warehouse and they take care of it for you. A lot of people do retail arbitrage where they go out into clearance sections over at Walmart and Target and other stores, and they buy stuff really cheap and they find how much it's selling for on Amazon or eBay, and they resell these items at that price and for a profit. So there's different ways for you to make a little more income. It might not be much, but it's something, and something helps, right? So these are just different ideas to kind of get the juices flowing, make you think about different things you can do during these tough times. And if you're doing Airbnb, I'm really feeling for you, because I know a lot of folks, especially in the circles that I'm with in regards to rental properties and real estate. I know a lot of people that do Airbnb that took such a huge hit. I mean, we're talking like 80% losses. It's really bad. And for the folks that they are able to rent their place out to, they're getting gouged because right now they're taking almost anything. A room that would have rented, or a property that normally would have rented for $200 a day, they're accepting $50 a day because it's something, right? And something's better than nothing. But it's really hard for them to keep up with their costs. So for those that took on Airbnb as a full-time operation and you didn't have other means of income, I know you guys are hurting, and I'm really feeling for you. Really hope there's some resolution to this soon, that we can come up with a vaccine or something just to really mitigate this and get past this pandemic that we're going through. So, the discussion's open. I'd love to hear from any one of you, either in the comments here on the YouTube channel or on the podcast. Send me an email. It's averagejoe@averagejoefinances.com. Let me know what you think. Tell me how this has affected you. If you were affected by this and you started a side hustle and you're turning this into something more, and you were able to recover that way, I would love to hear your story. We could definitely get you on the podcast. We'll do a Zoom call and we'll make it happen. This is the type of stuff that I want to share with other people. especially those that are in this moment where we're struggling. So I know this this is not, I didn't mean for this to be like a doom and gloom episode. However, when this got brought up today, it made me realize, I wrote about this back in May, and this is still a thing. This is still happening, and it's getting worse. So be safe out there, everybody. Practice social distancing. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. Check us out, averagejoefinances.com. Follow us on any of our social media accounts. We'd love to hear what you're thinking, what you have to say about what's going on out there, and share your stories. Join the community, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks for listening to the Average Joe Finances Podcast, your source for beating debt, saving money, and investing. Learn more at averagejoefinances.com.